Calaroga Shark Media.
Did you know there's a Liberty Bell in every state? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with 5 good news stories. Yep, back in 1950, the Treasury Department commissioned exact replicas of the Liberty Bell, one for each state. That was part of a savings bond drive. They were cast by a foundry in France that's been making bells since 1796. Each one weighs 2,080 pounds, has the same markings as the original, and even has a fake crack. The bells toured the county on flatbed Ford trucks. People bought saving bonds and got to ring the bell. And then the Treasury just gave them away to the states. There was no instructions on what you could do with them. Tom is a bell hunter. He's made it his mission to find and visit as many of the replicas as possible. He's up to 40. He said it was a casual thing that turned into an obsession. He's got a website, TomLovesTheLibertyBells.com. He called it just kind of a fun goof, but now he's the de facto expert on the bells. Some states have restored theirs ahead of the 250th. Kansas's bell spent years disassembled in a parking garage before getting a place of honor outside a state office building. One of the bells, unfortunately, is gone. The Washington, D.C. replica went missing from storage in the early 80s and has never been found. Tom suspects it was melted down for scrap. Good news if you're tired of plastic. Scientists have developed a plastic alternative made from hemp. Yep, hemp, the cannabis plant. Hemp can stretch up to 1,600% of its size. It can handle boiling water without breaking down. University of Connecticut professor Gregory Satsing said, very few, if any, plastics made from natural resources of this quality. The hemp-based plastic could be used for things like water bottles, food packaging, and flexible electronics. Hemp is a fast-growing weed that needs very little water and almost no pesticides. Could be a good idea there. In Albany, New York, people are trying to figure out what to do with a giant dog statue. Nipper is a 28-foot-tall white dog with black ears that had been sitting on top of a warehouse in Albany for almost 70 years. Nipper is the famous RCA dog. You know that one? The one whose head is cocked to one side listening to a phonograph? Yep, you've seen the image. Up in Albany, you can buy Nipper socks, hats, stickers, shot glasses. Cody said, when I think of Nipper, I think of Albany. When I think of Albany, I think of Nipper. The problem? The building has been unused for over a decade. Foreclosure has been dragging on for years, and the city recently put a red warning on the entrance, the kind that tells firefighters, use caution going in. Karen Macri is with the Historic Albany Foundation and said it's definitely not a good thing for Nipper. He's attached to that building, so if something happens to it, it's going to be kind of hard to take him off of it. Albany's mayor is now trying to get Nipper added to the city's list of historic landmarks. What happens from there? Who knows? He weighs 4 tons. Good news, if you operate a vending machine in Singapore, you're about to get some upgrades. See, an 18-year-old French student thought it would be a good idea to lick a straw from an orange juice vending machine at a shopping mall and put the straw back. He posted that on social media in Singapore, which is probably the worst place to do something like that. Singapore is known for limits on things like chewing gum and heavy penalties for littering and generally zero tolerance for shenanigans. The teen was charged with mischief and public nuisance. Mischief carries up to 2 years in prison. Nuisance, 3 months. The vending machine company filed a police report, sanitized the dispenser, and replaced all 500 straws in the machine. And now they've announced they're upgrading the machines to include individually packaged straws and compartments that only unlock after you complete your transaction. In Saskatchewan, a tow truck driver was on his way to a call when he spotted a moose frozen in the ice of a lake about half a mile from his house around 5 in the afternoon. The moose had been stuck there since 8:45 in the morning. Clint made a decision. He called his customers and said, you're going to have to wait. After they heard I was digging a moose out of the ice, they said, oh, okay. They were very understanding. Clint backed up his truck, lowered the bed, got a sling around the moose, winched him right out of the ice and onto the truck. He then called his wife with an update and said, honey, get some blankets. I've got a moose. By 11 p.m., the moose was back on his feet and no longer interested in ear scratches. The moose hung around the property until the next morning and then headed off, which biologists say is totally normal behavior for a rescued moose. Those are your 5 good news stories for today.